Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a good day. Today is going to be a shorter video than usual. I know I usually have long videos, but I won't keep you for too long today. Today we're going to be speaking about 9:45 a.m. news and its relationship with 9:30 Judas swing. Information should not be considered as an offer or enticement to buy, sell, or trade. So really quickly, before we get into the charts, I want to speak about just this generic example here. So Friday, February 21st, we had flash services PMI and flash manufacturing PMI on 9:45. Now, of course, since this is USD, this affects the Nasdaq, which is our main concern. Now, I want you to take your attention to this red part over here. This lane here is the actual, this is the forecast, and this is the previous. Now, the most important thing about reading news and understanding why the move in price action or the price difference in price action was as significant or insignificant as it was is because of the deviation between the actual and the forecast. So, in other words, the bigger the deviation, the bigger the move. In this case, the first news, flash manufacturing PMI, the difference between it was 0.3 points plus. So that's insignificant. That won't cause a big spike. But in the case where we have a 3.3 deviation, we can expect a price to have some sort of movement that will be significant and that will create a swing high or a swing low. Now, moving into the charts, we have Friday, 21st February. We have 9:30 marked out and 9:45 marked out. Within this example, we're operating under a bearish narrative. We're expecting price to gravitate towards sell-side objectives. In this scenario, where we have 9:30 move that opens here, pushes into the RTH gap, fills it almost to the full, and then it reaches back higher into a prohibited gap that's here. Now, many people may see this example, and it's hard to assume that the Judas swing actually manipulated downwards, and now we're going to expect higher price action going forward. What they don't understand is narrative. Just because 9:30 opened downwards, it did not meet an objective. It did not manipulate anything. It held no significance within price action. But when we continue to play price forward, and we see that price reached an objective and found resistance at this fair value gap here, we understand that the Judas swing was actually a move higher into this fair value gap here. Now, this is what we call a true Judas. From here, as price went lower, it found this gap here to fill. If the Judas swing was a move lower, we could have expected this fair value gap here to be inversed and for higher prices to reach. But what happened? The gap, the RTH gap, did not hold any resistance to price, and instead it reached higher, filled an imbalance, and started to drop lower, giving us this move here as true Judas. This move here lower could have been seen as accumulation. Just because it does not look choppy as this price action here or this price action here does not mean that it does not accumulate orders. This move here on a micro level, because price is fractal, would have accumulated sell orders, only to fake them out, triggering buy orders, and then to take out early sellers, which were within this move here, and then to fill in smart money orders from filling this imbalance, driving us lower. In general, what I'm trying to say is that the move here lower would have been a Judas swing if there was resistance found off of the RTH gap. Instead, price filled imbalance and then started to move lower, giving us a true Judas that manipulated higher. Now, this swing here, starting at 9:30, gives us the high of morning session, which is the high resistance point for price for the morning session. Now, diverting your attention towards the 945, you can see that price opened up here, reached higher, used an old 4-hour gap here as resistance. You see using the consequent encroachment once, twice, 3 times, 4 times to the tick to bring us lower. Now, because 945 has high impact news, expect this move here to not go over this point here. And if it does, the bearish narrative that you have in this case is probably flawed. If 945 were to open, start to reach higher, run the high resistance point of 930, then that would mean that 930 would not have the high resistance point truly, which would mean that your narrative or bias or drawn liquidity or whatever is flawed. In general, what we can take away from this presentation is that if there is 945 high impact news, we can expect 930 move to be a Judas swing that creates a high resistance point, i.e. low of morning or high of morning. News event at 945 should not turn narrative liquidity. And this is obviously if you're operating under the narrative, and this can just be a way that you can use 930 and 945 news, if there is any, to confirm your bias understanding of where price is likely to head towards. Let's say, for example, if on this day we saw that price ran at 940 above this high and started to use this gap here as support instead of resistance, we can understand that our bias is likely incorrect. Thank you everyone for watching. This was a shorter video, and I hope everyone learned something, and be safe.